Today's episode would be important enough as it is, without us facing local rivals Barnet. However, it's also first versus second, and unlike the previous episode, roles have reversed and we currently sit at the top of the tree. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 of One Team, One Dream, Into the Woods. My name is James, and on today's episode, we face Altringham in the National League at home, followed by a crucial and massive away derby against Barnet, as winner goes top and could possibly give the winning team momentum going on into the second half of the season. And in terms of momentum, since you were last with me, it's all been going pretty well. So the last episode was the utter mess that was Bromley, Chesterfield and Eastleigh, sort of, where we managed back-to-back wins in the league, and we've carried on the unbeaten run. We managed to beat Sutton 2-0 away, which is another nice derby win there. With 2-2 against Solihull Moors. A bit disappointing to draw 2-2 at home, but at least it wasn't a loss. But we managed to follow that up with another away win, 4-1 against FC Halifax. This felt much more like we did at the start of the season. I really hope it means we've started to find our form now, and that is going to be important going into today's game. Not so much against Altringham, who are sitting down in 17th place, but what is likely to be one of the biggest games of the season. If both of us are up at the top of the table near the end of the season, obviously the home match is going to be massive again when we're at Meadow Park in front of the Boreham crowd. But this is going to be pivotal in terms of who gets to that point, as I think the winners today will definitely take some momentum going into the second half of the season, as I stated in the intro. Now, our form so far in the league has been definitely a team effort. However, one player has definitely put their mark on the season so far. And he's pretty good at playing football, I'd like to think. It's a man who dominates this centre table here, Shaq Colhurst. The man is a revelation. Absolutely brilliant. I was expecting to be one of the better players when I came into the club, looking at his star ratings. However, I was not expecting in a million years for this guy to be as good as he is. So far in the league this season, 12 appearances, 14 goals, 3 assists, 5 Player of the Match awards, and a 7.53 average rating. If we also look down at his cup, he's got 2 appearances in the cup, 3 goals to add to that as well. He is on the season of his career. And the fact that he came from rivals Barnet, and there is a chance that he could put the sword to them today, I think is absolutely brilliant. And it will be something that will obviously create a catalyst in this game. In terms of other news, there's a massive amount left. The only thing was that Gus Mafuta, unfortunately, has had a bit of a wobble. He came to me complaining about lack of first team football. Now, maybe I should have set expectations with him a little bit better when I first joined the club. However, what I didn't realise was he was set as a regular starter. He didn't play very well in pre-season. He hasn't been part of my plans so far, and obviously he has got quite upset about that. I explained to him the fact that he's not going to be part of my current starting 11, but I can provide him some substitute appearances if he can force his way into the team. Obviously he'll get his spot then. He didn't like that. He wanted first team football, said he wasn't very happy with it, was going to leave it there. He didn't leave it there. He went to the press. He complained about the fact that he wasn't getting first team football, and the press started saying that he was threatening a move away from the club. So we forced his hand, pushed him out. So he is going to be going to Scunthorpe, only for £2,000. To be honest, he isn't valued much more than that, and I was happy to kind of get rid of him. I don't want an unhappy player messing up our morale at the club. So he'll be going when the January transfer window starts in a couple of weeks' time. A little bit disappointing because I felt that he was going to be an okay backup. He could come in and definitely do a job. But one thing I wasn't going to do was I wasn't going to unsettle what is basically the starting midfield pairing. Mark Ricketts, obviously being the captain, is going to take priority. Yes, we could say that Gus is maybe a little bit better, a little bit more skillful than Mark Ricketts, but A, experience comes into this massively, and B, being the captain, I think dropping this guy or forcing this guy out of the club halfway through the season, or even in my first season, was going to be more damaging to the team morale than Gus going. So Gus is the one that unfortunately gets the drop. And also, and as well in terms of Adam McDonough, not only is this guy playing well, I mean, you've got 10 appearances, 3 goals, 6 assists. You can't see it 'cause it's behind my head, but a 7.22 average rating in the league. He's also done pretty well in the cup and also in non-competitive games. He did play most of pre-season and played pretty well. Not only that, he's developing. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. This guy's got a much higher ceiling than Gus had. And if we go on the coach report, I don't know if it specifies what level he could actually make it to. I mean, he's currently playing at a decent player for most Vanarama national sides and could improve slightly in the future. So there's a chance that he could improve to being an okay League 2 player, which hopefully that's the way we're going. So I'm definitely going to want to keep this guy in the squad because this guy is going to be the future. And at 23 years old, I mean, he could be here for 2 or 3 years, depending on where we sit and depending on how he develops. So that to me was the priority. So with all that in mind, let's get into the first match of today's episode where we are away against Altringham. In team selection news, we have a couple of injuries. Kane Smith, I say injuries, absences, should we say. Kane Smith, unfortunately, is suspended. He picked up 10 yellow cards. Was it 10 or 5? I don't remember now which one it is. 5 yellow cards. Picked up 5 yellow cards. That means he's suspended for the next match. So he's suspended for this one, but he will be back for the Barnet game, which obviously is the most important thing. And we also have an injury to Courtney Watson. Courtney Watson, one of our developing youth. He's only out for a cold for a couple of days. So again, he'll be available for the Barnet match. But Watson really is only kind of a backup while Whiteley is at the club. And so that injury isn't a massive concern, especially when we can bring in somebody like Bagridge, who excites me every time he plays because he is, even as a youngster, not taking the mantle so much as McKinnon is up front, but is definitely showing some promise every time he comes on. And so I can trust that I can bring him on maybe with 10, 15 minutes to go, and he's going to put in a good shift. So this is the team that's going to be facing Altringham in the first of today's 2 matches. We have Ashmore in goal, a back 4 of Francis and goal, Tricker, Fifield and Brown, McDonnell and Ricketts in central midfield, Whiteley and Thomas as the wingers, with Colhurst and McKinnon up front. 2 very obvious absences here. One is the fact that Champion is still on the bench. Now, as much as Champion is the vice-captain and Champion is one of the team leaders at the club, he and Fifield weren't developing a partnership as well as I'd hoped, and there was a few warning signs. So I brought in Tricker. Tricker has actually done really well. He's got a 7.06 in the last 5 games, and again, he is another one who is developing. 19 years old, 5 5.5-star current ability. That's not even right. 5-star potential ability. I don't know if on his report if it says potential to be a Sky Bet Championship defender in the future. Now, this guy is only on a 2-year, we'll say a 1.5-year contract, so we'll be considering his contract again in the summer. But again, if he's gonna, if youngsters in this season, in this series, if youngsters are in the side and they're playing well, I'm going to pick them because you know what? They're going to be here a darn sight longer than the majority of these players. And if the older players aren't putting in the shift, if they're not playing well, if they're not creating partnerships with their fellow teammates, then unfortunately they're going to drop to the bench. And they're going to be the ones that have to make the sacrifice. And the same goes for this man here, Kabongo Shimanga. Now, he has, if we look at his stats, 4 appearances from the bench, 2 goals, and a 7.27 average rating, which you can't see because it's behind my head. But so he's been playing okay, but he's not been ripping up any trees. And I want to kind of feed him back in. But as long as McKinnon and Colhurst are developing that good partnership, as long as they're playing well, there's no real reason for Shimanga to come in and disrupt that. And do you know what? He may be one of the best players at the club, but I'm honestly considering if somebody comes in for a decent bid for him in the January, there's a possibility I could sell him. Because if I look down here as well, we've got Ricky Fagan, who was in the under-18s, somebody I actually looked at in my first episode. I've brought him up into the main squad because he's 17 years old, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Again, does he have, so currently operating at Vanarama national level, doesn't say where he, it doesn't say what he could develop into, but logically he is the third best striker at the club. McKinnon's actually slightly behind him, but McKinnon is playing well. And so at the very least we've got another good backup to come in. So Shamanga really needs to start pulling his weight, because if he doesn't agree to a new contract, and if he doesn't, actually I'll rephrase that, if he doesn't agree to a reasonable contract, or if he doesn't start putting his weight behind his performances and really start putting in a good shift and breaking into the starting squad, he could be at risk to go in January. Right, let's get into, so Reece Brown is struggling for match sharpness. Now that's why he's in the squad, because Kane Smith is suspended. I've literally just explained that. Honestly, I know my starting 11. Right, so I've told them to go out and carry on from where they were in the last match. The last match, obviously the 4-1 win against Halifax. We really want to carry that on into this game. We really want to keep this momentum going, because we're going to need all the momentum we can against what is going to be one of the toughest fixtures in the league, which is going to be Barnet away. Barnet, who we're really expected to be near the top of the table at the start of the season. The media only predict us to be 10th, if you remember. But the board expect us to have playoff aspirations. So it is meant to be a difficult game anyway going into this. But if we can't get a win in today's game, especially a game at home against a team that are near the bottom of the table, it's going to make it all the more difficult for us. And we have a highlight here on 29 minutes. We have a throw in an hour and a half. Big ball put forward, but only as far as Jones. It was a very wayward pass, if I'm honest. I'm not sure who he was looking for. Taylor, though, hitting his own player. Luckily for Altringham, they managed to win the ball back again. And the striker there cleared it out to his winger. Sutton with the ball now. Lucky Tricker manages to collect it, though. Another hoof forward to absolutely no one. I mean, I might see if I can try and remove the long balls forward, because if we're going to be losing possession that easily, I'd rather we collected ourselves. And a brilliant save there by Ashmore while I was just trying to get my bearings, actually explain what on earth was going on. But I'll abandon that. So Altringham have a corner. Gilligan with the corner in the centre. Luckily, I think his name is. Luckily, header goes over the bar. As I was explaining, yes, I might see if we can try and go maybe slightly more standard passing, because if our big long balls forward are just going to be wayward passes to the opposition, there's no point us doing it. We may as well go for slightly shorter passing and take our time. But going into half time, Altrincham have the slight edge coming into half time with the slightly better chances in that first half, but really quite an even contest, which is slightly concerning against a team that really we'd expect to be doing better, especially with the amount of goals we've been scoring in recent games. I'm going to point the finger, not happy with the performance out there. I'm not going to get too angry with them, but I think maybe a little bit of a nudge in the right direction is what these guys require. And we have a highlight here on 50 minutes. McKinnon with the ball. Ball forward to Colehurst, loses the ball, but lucky Whiteley manages to collect the loose ball. Takes a shot from range. Really, that probably wasn't the best option. I knew he had a couple of players in front of him, but didn't have much power behind the ball. And goal with the throw-in to Whiteley. Whiteley puts a cross into the centre. Fortunately, doesn't reach anybody other than the Altrincham defender. Ricketts, though, collects the ball. Now out to Brown. Brown whips to the centre. Colehurst lost his man. Colehurst needs to get that on target. Colehurst had a free header there. He'd lost his marker, was free in the penalty area and couldn't even get it on target. That is really disappointing for Colehurst. We do have a highlight here. I was about to make some substitutions, but on 62 minutes we have another highlight. Altrincham with the goal kick. Tricker puts it out wide to Whiteley. Whiteley manages to stop it from going out for a throw-in. And goal with the ball now. Back to Tricker. Tricker with the big ball forward. Loses it again. And we will definitely be changing the passage. Tricker there is not following the flight of the ball. Manages to run in though and block the shot. These highlights are coming thick and fast now. Ricketts with the ball now. Brown. Brown's, unfortunately, his cross is fairly wayward and goes into the arms of Stone, the Altrincham goalkeeper. Big ball forward. Harriott has lost his man again into the penalty area. Takes a shot in off the post. And that had been coming for a couple of minutes. The previous highlight where Tricker lost his man there, I think it was Harriott that moment as well. Lucky he managed to come back and block the shot. But that has been coming for a little while. And that is disappointing. We are allowing this team to run rings around us in this game. How can our defenders be having such good ratings if we're losing? That makes absolutely no sense. But the attacking half of our field is playing absolutely awful. Make a couple of changes, I think. Shaq's going to come off for Shamanga. I think I swapped Thomas over to the far side. He's not having a very good game, but I still think he is one of our best creative outlets. Let's bring on Bagridge over on that far side. I was half tempted to make all 3 substitutions at once, but I don't think I'm going to. What I'm going to do is pump the fists. I'm looking for you to make the difference I know you're capable of. Come on. What are we doing? Are we on positive? Maybe we have to go attacking. Maybe we have to start taking it to them. Let's ask the team to fire up. And we have a highlight here on 77 minutes. Sutton with the ball for Altringham. We managed to win the ball though. We managed to win the ball back, and the ball goes to Shamanga. Chips out wide to Bagridge. Unfortunately, the pass gets won back by Altringham. Harrott, the score of the first goal, to Jones. Now to Kozilo, I presume that is. Jones with the ball now. Nobody really putting pressure or putting in the tackle. Altringham keeping the ball. Tricker managed to win the ball back. Chips it forward yet again. Right, we are changing that because that is 3rd or 4th times he's done that now. And actually, my assistant manager has literally just said we need to do more. We need to do more shorter passes. Drop back slightly more direct, I think. Do you know what? It'll go slightly shorter even. I think we need to playing more careful passing because we are just throwing the ball away very easily. Fifield wins the ball back. Now with McKinnon. To Ricketts. To McDonald. I know the big chip forward to Shamanga, who's in the penalty area, gets a toe on it, toes it past the goalkeeper, making it 1-1. That is more like, I know I'm going to regret changing the passing style now because that ball forward from, I think it was Ricketts with the ball there. I know it was forward to McDonald. McDonald with the chip forward. Now that was a fantastic loose ball, fantastic long ball. What is going on with me today and me talking? My inability to even speak English. But Shamanga there, yes, I will change it because we need to be more careful with what we're doing going forward. And Kozilo now has the free kick, but Ashmore with the spectacular diving save. Not 100% sure that's necessary, but huge ball forward, looking for McKinnon. McKinnon unfortunately couldn't keep up with it, and the defender manages to collect it. Brown though with the ball, with McDonald. This is more like it. Maybe we try and build something. But the defender comes forward. Fortunately, Shamanga, I think, was expecting the ball over the top. And Altringham now bring the ball forward with Mooney. To Jones. Jones loses his man. To Harrott. To Kozilo. I'm never going to get his name right. And I don't. But Ricketts manages to win the ball back. Now to McKinnon. McKinnon bring the ball forward. McKinnon's been given loads of space. Running forward. It goes to the penalty area. Goes to take a shot though. The defender manages to get down to block it. I can see where this is going. This highlight has been going on for too long for it to be going our way. Harrott with the ball in the penalty area. He manages to... What was that? How was he allowed to be able to score from that angle? Who was that in the penalty area there? So we had, Tricker, you could tell because he's 6'6", was in there. Tricker goes to the man, allows him to walk past. Angol also allows him to walk around him. That was disgraceful. Right, well, we know who's coming off now. Do I bring on Femi or do I bring on Champion? How is he having a good game? I suppose I have to bring on Femi because Tricker is having a good game, even though that was absolutely disgraceful. I think we push McKinnon further forward. We're going to have to push the wing backs forward as well. I don't know what else we can do in this game. Maybe switch him to being a box to box. Maybe give Tricker and Shamanga a bit more support in either end with McDonald there pushing forward a bit further. We've got a couple of players in the centre being in danger of being booked, but do you know what? Actually, do you know what? Undo that. Undo all of that. Not all of it, but I have to go back. I'm going to take off McDonald. Let's bring on Adebayi. Let's push him forward as Mazzala and push him right forward. Let's really go attacking on this. I'd rather lose 3-1 than not bother trying and just give up at 2-1. At least we give ourselves an opportunity to try and score in this game. I'm going to say arms outstretched. No, I don't want that. Why is arms pump fist then? Faith he can make the difference. Let's push the youngster forward. Hopefully he can make a difference. And I think we're going to have to go all out attack at this point. Very attacking. Let's demand more. But coming into the last couple minutes doesn't make a difference. Thomas had an awful game. He's getting a warning after this match. So disappointing. We had everything going for us then. We had the momentum coming into the game. We were the better side coming into it as well. We were at home. And do you know what? Like the Chesterfield game in the FA Cup, we just bowed out. We just gave up. And that is not what I expect from a team. Do you know what? It includes I know there's a couple of youngsters in the squad, but there's team leaders in this squad as well. Maybe we have to play champion in the next match. Maybe Fifield drops down to the bench because we obviously don't have people they don't have players that have enough bottle to be able to see out a game. I'd have taken a 1-1 at home at Altringham because at least we didn't lose. I've had a habit of referencing the social media on this game, but do you know what? Robinson, absolutely shocking. Absolutely fuming. The fans are spot on. I know we've got a long way to go, and I know we're not expected to be anywhere near the top, and that is not the reason I am angry. The reason I'm angry is because we gave up. And you could see that. That second goal was disgusting. And you can't even... He's 19, so you could say... I know I'm going on a bit of a rant now, but you could say that Tricker, he's 19, he's still learning. Put a tackle in. Angol was there as well. He's 27. He is an experienced international. And he just watched that player just wander past him and score. One thing while I am here, Sorba Thomas, discipline, issue warning. And you know what? Last game, point the finger. Our strikers were feeding off scraps. Good. At least he admitted it was unacceptable. Good. He accepts his warning. I did have to hold back because I was tempted to fine him, but I'd only do that if it had been a couple of games in a row. Right. Well, it's taken I said this in the last episode as well. Hopefully this isn't going to be a theme for the series, but that has taken the wind out of my sails a little bit, and it's taken a little bit of the shine going into the Barnet match, because I was going into that Altringham game with all the positivity, thinking we actually stood a chance against Barnet, and now unfortunately I think going into this next game it's going to be a case of let's not make it embarrassing. On the way to the next match, we have a slight stop-off before the game against Barnet. Today we have the FA Trophy third round draw. If we can get a favourable draw in the FA Trophy, do you know what? We can try and push forward and see if we can try and maybe win a little bit of money. I know there's not going to be a massive amount of money in this, but it all goes in the coffers. And if we can get an easy tie through to the next round, see how far we can go. Maybe use that as a little bit of momentum as well. So Chesterfield have gone, Barnet has gone. Who have we got so far? Who have we actually got left? I mean, there's loads of... I'm not even going to go through them all because we've got loads of teams in this. So I'm going to keep going to see who we can have. We've got any... St Albans have gone. That's another rival. Here we go. Burgess Hill. Burgess Hill? Burgess Hill. That's got to be. Burgess Hill down from the Isthmian Division 1 South East. I mean, that's got to... Here's me jinxing it right now, but that's got to be a win for us, surely. Let's draw all the rest of the teams as well. Yeah, that's got to be a win for us, which is going to be exciting, pushing us through to what is that? Third round, so the fourth round of the FA Trophy. I might see if I can try and get that on an episode. It'd be quite cool to kind of show that as a little bit of a cup thing. It's actually the next. Maybe I jump for it. I'd like to jump forward a little bit further than that, so maybe we don't show the third round. Hopefully, we get a win in that. We can obviously maybe show one of the later rounds instead, because I'd like to push forward into January. Especially there's going to be a little bit of a business in January with both comings and goings. We have a couple of trialists at the club who I'd like to sign on, but also I want to try and push a few players out as well, because we have a fairly bloated side, especially bloated with players that aren't actually taking part in the main squad and are currently just taking up wage budget. So next stop will be the Barnet game. Right, here we go. Here it is, one of the biggest games of the season. And I've made a couple of tactical and personnel tweaks for this game. So we have Ashmore in goal, a back four of Femi, Champion, Tricker and Smith, McDonnell and Ricketts in midfield, Watson and Thomas are the wingers, and then we have, for the first time this season, Shamanga and Colehurst partnered up front from the start of the game. Now, I sat there for about 5 minutes fiddling with this, switching them backwards and forwards, trying them with different positions. Now, Shimanga has scored majority of his goals when he's been in this position and when he's been further forward. So I really needed to get him as far forward as possible. Colehurst, as good as he's been in that position, he is also okay as a pressing forward. I didn't want him to sit too deeply. That does create a little bit of an issue here. But as you can see here, McDonald will come into this area as the box-to-box midfielder, but won't necessarily have a massive amount of influence on this area. And I'd rather have Colehurst further forward, as he's much of a scoring threat as Shimanga, rather than having him drop back into this area and be a slightly more defensive forward. With that in mind as well, I think we go on a slightly more attacking mentality as well going into this game. I think also, based on the previous match, let's go to slightly more direct, rather than very direct. And we do have a couple of players come back in as well. So we have Watson comes back in for Whiteley, who drops to the bench after his cold. So he is now 100%. So this is probably one of our strongest starting 11s. There are a couple of areas where I'm still not 100% sure who my best player is in that position, but in theory, that will come to light as the season progresses. One thing I really will talk about as well, which I really do like, is the match day introductions, all the team sheets, the bits and pieces. I presume we'll get you get like a nice little, almost like TV style introduction to the match with the players coming up, because I believe this one's on TV as well. So you get all those elements of it, and I just think it really adds a little bit of detail to the match day experience, which I think is really, really nice. I'm going to say, pump fists. We're the underdogs. Go out and cause an upset. So here we are, and we do have the little TV intro as well. With Barnet playing a 4-2, that looks like a 4-3-3, but a very deep 4-3-3. Hopefully we can counteract that and push forward. Obviously, there's very little, but we now are 3 points behind Barnet. So this win, if we want to be near the top of the table, obviously we need to get a win against this lot to pull them back in. But I think more than anything is we are now as close to being out of the playoffs as we are to the top of the table, and that I think is just as important, is making sure we don't fall out of the playoffs altogether, as this is what the board expectation is going to be at the end of the season. Is even if we don't necessarily do very much with it, at the very least having a chance to be in the playoffs is something that they're going to be looking for as a minimum. Well, I'd say that is what I would refer to as FA Cup final syndrome. I don't know if anybody who follows football, watching the FA Cup, you always get that big build up to it, and sometimes nothing happens, and that was the most boring first half I've ever seen. There was not a single highlight. Now, from what I can see, Barnet did dominate that first half, 58% to our 42% possession, but they only had 2 shots on target, and that was the 2 right at the end of the half. They at one point were 8 shots for none on target, so they have played slightly better in that half. But I think we have a good chance of nicking one here. I'm going to say, do you know what? I'm going to thrash my arms. This is a great opportunity to show all the pundits they have the right to back you up. I think that's a good way to do it. Let's go out. Let's take the distraction away. Distract them away from the fact this is a derby and towards the fact that, you know what, they can really make a statement win here today if they manage to do well. But Barnet have the first highlight, but Ricketts wins the ball back really well. Thomas in his favourite position running through. Shimanga's through, on goal! There we go! That's what we were looking for. 49 minutes on the clock. Shimanga running through. I knew I was right to push him further forward and have Colehurst sitting slightly further back. Thomas with another fantastic assist, ball through for Shimanga. That man is such a poacher, but he has got the skill to be an advanced forward. It's why I won't sit him on poacher, because I think he's got the ability to hold the ball up and things like that as well. But that was absolutely brilliant. That sends us top as well currently. What a game this is going to be if we can carry on like this. Smith with the free kick now, chipped in the centre for Colehurst this time. Calls the ball through, Shimanga for the second. Shimanga is in for Borehamwood's second. His 5th goal of the season. This is more like it. We have come out of the traps in this second half. Came with the chip for fantastic ball forward. The tackle there was very fortunate for Shimanga. I feel sorry for the defender there, but Shimanga taking the opportunity. Yes, he was onside there. Shamanga taking the opportunity, saw the open net, and didn't question it. Now he's just says he's picked up a tight thigh. We should be able to nurse him through. I'll see how it goes. I don't want to take him off on a hat-trick with the momentum that he has got. But on 70 minutes, let's see if we can make some substitution. Let's see if we can try and bring on... The midfielder's playing awful for the scoreline. Let's take Ricketts off. Actually, no, let's push McDonald back. Let's take Ricketts off and bring on Adebayi in that central midfield role. If I'm honest, Colehurst is not playing well either. Maybe we push him further forward. Do you know what? Let's push it forward. Let's switch him over. Let's put Shamanga on a poacher. Let's put Colehurst on the advance forward. In theory, everyone's playing where they are happiest playing. Do I make a second? I mean, Femi is also having an awful game, but no one else to bring on for him. Do you know what? I'm going to take Tricker off. I'm going to bring on Fifield to hopefully firm up the defence going into the last 20 minutes or so of the game. I know it's always a bit of a risk switching the centre-backs in such an important game, especially when we're playing well. But I'd rather us have fresh legs on the field. Right, 10 minutes to go. Now Thomas is playing well, but he is tired. Now, do I bring Whiteley on for Thomas, or do I bring McKinnon on for Colehurst? I think I'm going to save Thomas. I don't want to break him, so I'm going to bring on Whiteley for him. I'd rather rest him than worry about it. McDonald with the corner though, it chipped in the centre. The goalkeeper comes out and clutches it quite comfortably. This is slightly worrying. Obviously, we're still, around 10 minutes left to go. But the ball forward, Champion manages to collect it, chips forward. Unfortunately, finds Nugent. Barnet now looking to try and get a goal back in this game, but they were chipped forward again. Again, goes loose ball to Dunn. I was hoping we'd managed to avoid this. We hope playing slightly shorter passing. But that ball forward to Colehurst, chip forward to Shamanga. He is going off. Get that man off the field. Nugent gets a second booking, surely. There we go. Barnet down to 10 men. That about seals this, I think, with 5 minutes to go. But Barnet do have a corner chip in the centre. McDonald manages to clear it. While this highlight is going on, I'm going to drop back to a positive mentality. But the ball is out wide for Barnet. I think that was a penalty there. I'm not sure who gave away that penalty. But with 4 minutes to go, this is going to make it slightly more uncomfortable. Unless Ashmore can make a save. The ball is straight at him and he doesn't manage to save it. I mean, let's encourage the team. Let's ask. I was going to say concentrate, but I think encouraging them is going to be the best route to go down. We have a corner here. Come on, let's seal it. Going into the centre. Colehurst smashes it off the defender into the back of the net. I mean, he made an absolute meal of that. He couldn't have made that any more difficult if he tried. But a brilliant corner in for McDonald. McDonald chipped in the centre. Colehurst lost his man. Smashes it into the face of the defender there. Poor defender on the line there. But defender should have stopped that. But that about seals our win, I think. What an up and down episode. I mean, welcome to the National League is probably what I would say there for me. Barnet will be disappointed. Barnet played well in that match according to the stats and according to the XG. But we were obviously more clinical in that game. Ashmore had a really good game as well, which is promising because the rest of the defence, I presume Islami, is Islami? So, somebody told me in the comments how to pronounce it, but I think it's Islami. Isnami. I'm going to continue calling him Femi because it's just so much easier. But yeah, Femi, I presume he gave away the penalty, and that's why he's on a 6.5. But the defenders did play very poorly in that game. Luckily, the complete reversal of the previous match, where the defenders played really well, but the attackers just didn't do anything. In that game, the attacking was all we had in that match. But I'm going to say outstretched arms. Do you know what? Yeah, people had us written off today. I'm going to say that because you know what? That was an upset. But what a game! What a game to get an upset in, and it sends us top of the table as well. I mean, that's got to be a result that the fans will remember for a while. However, there are 4 teams on 29 points. Wow, that is close. I mean, we're not even in January yet, so we've got a long way to go, but that is very, very close. This is going to mean that every result is going to be important. I don't expect us to be up the top here, but at least we now are 6 points from Chesterfield, which is the biggest thing for me. Yes, the win over Barnet is fantastic for the fans and for the players, And going top is also a big morale boost. But being 6 points now from Chesterfield, from a team that has actually beaten us twice this season, is promising, because that further that makes us more comfortable when it comes to playoff positions. Right, with that in mind, where do we come back? One thing I will say is, looking at it though, we have actually got Wrexham are in second, so maybe we show Kings Lynn and Wrexham, maybe Wrexham and Dagenham and Redbridge, with Dagenham struggling down in the relegation zone, kind of show two ends of the table there. So maybe we'll come around here back end of January. Hopefully, if I've made any changes or transfers, there'll be kind of some news to talk about there as well. And so I think that will be a good time to come back. What another action-packed episode. Luckily this one with less technical issues. But if you enjoyed that, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of brand new FM21 videos. And thank you very much for watching.